Welcome back. This is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing, and today I wanted to talk to you about this project that I did with Scribble sticks. And I went back and forth on how I was going to present this, but I'm showing this to you in real time, the entire length of the project, because I want you to be able to see how little time it takes and how easy it is to try something new out. So what I have out in front of me is a package of Dina Wakley Scribble sticks. There are two different color sets. This is the one that has the white in it, not the gray, the white. And the Dina Wakley Media Journal, and I'm working on a canvas page. I hadn't tried a canvas page before, and I hadn't tried Scribble sticks, but I saw her do this in a video. And you'll notice I'm working very quickly. Again, this is real time. I mentioned this project in a different video, but it was during the week and I was tired and worn out and I just didn't feel like doing anything. And I thought, I have a half an hour. I should be able to do something in a half an hour. I decided to try something new, and my sister's always saying, put the paint on the canvas. Don't overthink it, just put the paint on the canvas. And I think that we slow ourselves down and hold ourselves back, and sometimes we just have to try. So you'll notice right now, I didn't even edit out the parts of this video where I went off camera. I went to find paper towels and a piece of scratch paper to put behind it, and I left that in because I really wanted you to see how long the video is. And what I'm doing is I'm just grabbing the different colors out of the set that speak to me and experimenting with them a little. They're all dry. I haven't put them in any water, and the canvas is dry, and I'm just scribbling them on. And what I've learned about the Scribble sticks is dry on dry and wet on wet, and I'll show you that a little bit later in this video. But as you use them, the color will come off. If the paper is dry, then you want the Scribble stick to be dry, and if you're applying it to something wet, you want the Scribble stick to be wet. So some people had comments that they didn't work well wet or they had trouble with them. I didn't have any trouble getting color off of these. Notice how much color is on the page and what happens when I get this wet. Knowing what I know now, I would not have put as much color down. I wanted it to be vibrant, and you're about to see what happens. And again, you'll see I'm using a Crayola brush. This is nothing fancy. The journal isn't very inexpensive. I mean, you might want to try something different there, but I do love it, and it's fun to play with. But look at the amazing color that you get when these Scribble sticks are wet. They are meant to be fun and do all sorts of things. They're just a water-based media, so you can get them wet and put them everywhere. And then look at how that magenta comes out, and you're going to see that more in a minute. And I am sorry that part of the time I'm off the frame. I move around a little. I have so much color of that magenta down that I don't even, it doesn't even really blend, and I can blend it into the blue, but knowing what I know now, I needed a lot less color. I was so shocked at how wonderful these were to work with and how saturated the color was. I put a whole bunch of color down there because I didn't want it to be boring and pale. You know how when you work with like inexpensive watercolors or something, you're struggling to get color? I guess I was concerned about that. I hadn't really tried these before. And you can see I have a spray bottle. You can use a spray bottle, paintbrush, a water brush if you have one. A water brush has the actual water in the handle and you squeeze it. And there I'm just putting some more of that magenta up into the blue and blending it to get some more variety because I have so much color on this page. It's crazy. So that's something to keep in mind. I definitely should have left more space, more white space on the page because they're very saturated. So there you saw I picked it up dry and tried to use it, and it didn't work at all. And off to the side, I have my cup of water. And sometimes I'll bring it in so that you can see how long I soak the Scribble stick. And since this was my first time, I was experimenting with them. And there, I didn't get it quite wet enough. And then I'm peeling back the papers. If you want to sharpen them up to a point later, you can do that just by doing it on paper. Don't waste the thing. And here I'm showing you how long I put it in the water, and then you can see how much color comes off. So if you wanted even more, you would let it sit longer, and I go back. When Dina Wakley shows this, she puts it in the water, and then she talks to the person next to her. She says, hey, what'd you have for lunch? Chats a bit. Or what'd you have for dinner? And her point is, you have to let it sit in the water for a minute. It's not just a dab and move on thing. It needs to take on some of that water. So the total of this video is about 11 and a half minutes. And here I'm soaking the black. And this was really dramatic. I was surprised by this. And the minute this hit the page, I was in love with these things. I thought it was very fun. At the end of this video, I have the dry. See, look at that. Oh my gosh. I have the dried page so you can see how this dried. These were very crisp lines, and it did bleed a little bit later. I like it both ways, and my guess is by varying the water or putting it on dry, I could have controlled it. Like if I let this page dry and then put it on. Here, I thought I soaked the white long enough, but it wasn't really working for me. And in my art journal, very often what I'm trying to do is something I haven't done before. So I was trying a technique or a product that I hadn't used before, but also I haven't really put borders around pages and given them a frame. And so I really wanted to do that on this page. The white didn't work out for me, so I did the black and I loved it. And then watch this. It's a hot mess and I had so much fun doing it. Now notice the end of that color where that's coming off really well, I've soaked that because my canvas is wet, so I need a wet media stick to work on it, or scribble stick. And then I just hit it with the brush, made a giant mess. It's very freeing. I'm a complete type A person, so every once in a while I just need to make a mess. And it was very fun. I love the color and the streaks on this page and the contrast between the really, really dark and the teal and the pale magenta right there in the middle of the page. I had a great time making this page, and I'll show you what my plan was. You'll see that in a minute. It really didn't work out, and that's okay, right? That's the point of trying something. For those of you who aren't art journalers and wonder what it is, it's a journal for yourself, and you test your art techniques. You might make beautiful pages with quotes. You might just watercolor on a page because you've never done it before. It's a way to test out techniques. Okay, so I was going to put that thing on the page. The page was so pretty and that thing is so big that in the end I didn't do that. And you'll see how it works out on the next, or when I show you the finished product. I'm going to work off screen a little bit, but again, I didn't want to edit this out. And here what I'm trying to do is combine the colors on the pages with the colors on the pre-existing item, because if you have different items and you want to bring them together, it's helpful to add some of the same accents or some of the same colors as though you made them at the same time or edge them the same. So here I'm trying a wet scribble stick on a dry piece of paper, and it wasn't working at all, which of course Dina says that won't work. So I turned it around, and the other end I hadn't soaked, because I soaked the blunt ends because there was no point in flattening the sharp ends with what I was doing around the edges. So when I took the dry and put it on the dry, I got plenty of color, and again you can see how rich the colors are. It's a pretty fun way to have some colors to deal with. I think the package is about $20 and there's 12 colors in it. I don't know if there are any places that take coupons or anything that sell them. There aren't in my area. So let me see. It doesn't have a price tag. I think it's 20 or 22. So those 12 colors aren't costing you many dollars a piece, as though if you went and bought paints or that sort of thing. Something to keep in mind. I'm not a watercolorist and I don't have watercolors. If you are and you have amazing watercolors, these might not be the product for you. but the scribbling part of it is pretty fun. And I will definitely do some other drawing with them in the future. So again, I'm testing it out. I'm trying to see how I like it. And just a zoom to show you what it looks like wet. And you can see it starting to bleed a little and get messy and fun. That's where I left it for the day. I didn't want to glue it together. I didn't want it to be... I'm still learning how to glue it, and that piece of paper that says put the paint on the canvas is watercolor. So I figured with all of it being wet and trying to glue that together, it would be a mess. Here I'm just picking up some of those mountains of magenta that I have in there and putting it onto this other piece of paper. That piece of paper was dry, had been dry for days, and you can see I took the Scribble stick. It just shows you the flexibility that you have to add and move color around. Okay, here we are. This is the dry page. And in my other video, I said I'll show you the finished page, and then I forgot that I was going to show you. So I've sprayed Heidi Swap Color Shine in teal on it, and that's what I'm showing you, a little bit of iridescence here and there. And I stamped stars on it with the Dina Wakley, I believe it's the penny colored ink. And I put some washi tape, and I did some scribble sticks on that right side in a super faint color. I sort of forgot that I was going to show you the page, so I made it for me. And that's okay. It's my art journal, but I probably would have made it a more polished product if I'd been thinking. So again, thanks for watching. Don't be afraid to put the paint on the canvas. And please like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much.